And welcome everybody to a Sunday night edition of Yard Prep here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Today I am hosting you. It's Louis Sung. I'm joined by Andy, Michael, Eric. We've got a full house here. Ethan Skolnick will be joining us shortly from the stadium. The final game of the NFL regular season for 2023, even though we are well into 2024 as we speak. Gentlemen, how was your holidays? How was your new year? How was everything? Tell me what you've been up to. Don't everybody jump all at once.
Could have been better. Could have been a little better on the 31st, but time with family is always nice, you know.
Absolutely, yeah. It's
Michael
been a lot of.
So sure about that. It's like, what's going on, Michael? Like, time with family. Yeah. Well, I mean, you know.
I think all the time about worst case scenarios, and yeah, as Andy said, that was about it.
Okay, we're talking football now. Okay, got it. Okay.
Yeah, no, everything else is going just dandy, except, you know, I'm jealous of all y'all who are down in Florida while I'm up here in frigid Atlanta. 28 degrees. I don't deserve this. People up north, they choose to live up north and have the cold. I don't deserve 28 degrees here in Atlanta.
Was it on the menu, man?
And now we're also joined by Chris Early, otherwise known as Duke. We've got a full house here for the final game of the regular season, so this pregame show is going to be fun. We've got a lot to talk about. We got to talk about that inactives list because it's very, very interesting how that played out. But as always, we need to mention that before anything else, this show is brought to you by PrizePicks.com. PrizePicks.com is a revolutionary fantasy platform where you can now pick up to 6 different players across professional sports leagues. Use the promo code 5, that's F-I-V-E, and they will match up to $100 on your initial deposit when you sign up. Get the promo code 5 F-I-V-E, prizepicks.com. Get in there, use that code, get your deposit matched up to $100, get started winning today. If that seems shorter to you, and it was because we got a lot to talk about. So, final game of the season, Miami versus Buffalo. If Miami wins, they get to go back home and first round of the playoffs, and they get to play the Buffalo Bills. Oh, how cruel this fate truly is. And now we have Ethan Skolnick joining us.
Oh,
Ethan,
my God.
We have a full house.
We're all here for the funeral. Look at that. What is that? We
Hey.
all together today.
What's wrong with this guy, man?
No, I don't know. All I got to say is, remember we were mocking Pro Football Talk about saying that 50% of the stadium was going to be Bills fans? I think he shot low, actually. I have never seen it like this in a season where the Dolphins are good. Where it literally looks like all the Dolphin fans sold their tickets. I'm walking up to the stadium. It's all Bills fans tonight. So
we'll see. Are they already filled with Buffalo only?
There's a lot of Buffalo only here. So we'll see. I mean, I'm optimistic that maybe the Dolphin fans can get to 60% of this crowd, but it's not looking good right now, guys.
You know what? It's very interesting because there's been tweets going around and emails being sent out. I know a good friend of mine, Ian Berger, is the one. He's a season ticket holder. They're basically sending out messages saying, we have decided not to renew your season tickets because you keep selling them to people because you all a bunch of scalpers. Like it's very sad. Like all these tickets are being bought up by just ticket scalpers. They're not actual Dolphins fans.
Well, if all I can say is if you're gonna buy tickets, use our link. Use our link because we've been putting a link on. Who are we working with these days? I got to check it out. Anyway, I'll get out of the way here because we got a full boat for the first time ever. But just my general thought here is that I understand the perspective of not being so difficult to beat a team 2 straight times. Here, especially, I guess, assume the Bills. If they lose, they're just going to stay here in Miami. Certainly, all the people from Buffalo are going to stay in Fort Lauderdale. Why would they go back to Buffalo? But I think you win the game anyway. You do your best to win the game anyway, and you get the home field for 2 weeks, and you delay playing Baltimore as long as possible. Like, I get that the Chiefs are not very good offensively this year compared to what they've been, but still, starting the playoffs on the road, considering how different this team has been home and road. I'm not with those who say tonight doesn't matter. I think it does matter.
Ethan,
I think
question.
It does matter.
Before you go. You have the ball on the Bills 30 seconds left, tie game, overtime. Are you taking a knee or are you kicking a field goal?
You take a knee, but you know Mike's not going to do that because that's not cute enough, right? He'll run some what is it? Ghost motion, all this kind of just to show off a little bit. Honestly, the time makes the most sense, but how disrespectful would that be to the Steelers, right? Because you're basically saying, bring on Pittsburgh. Is that kind of what you're doing here? And then you'll lose by 30.
Oh, come on.
I don't know that you want a Mike Tomlin team in the playoffs necessarily. I mean, I understand their talent level is not
without TJ Watt.
Well, that's true. That's true.
Ain't nobody scared of Mason Rudolph, man.
No, that's true. That's true. But anyway, I'll let you guys get on with the show. I just wanted to check in and just tell you basically that we're in Buffalo. I feel like I should go to the Anchor Bar tonight and all the rest of this. But I'm hoping, like I said, the Dolphin fans can get over 60% tonight. So. But thanks for all for joining, and then again, I'll try to join on the post game as well. Make sure you guys check out everybody's watching. Check out the YouTube channel afterwards. We'll have all the interviews from after the game too. So, and I'm sure Lewis will have his episodes of Fins Nation this week. So make sure you like, subscribe, and turn the notifications on. I like the Dolphins tonight, by the way. So we'll see.
All right, thank you, Ethan. All right, so. Now that we've got that out of the way, so it doesn't surprise me, honestly. I did a show with Drew Gear of the Rock Pile Report to go behind enemy lines. We talked about this. We talked about what this means to Bills fans. Bills fans are some of the best traveling fans in the NFL, unfortunately. They will follow their team everywhere. Apparently, everybody in Buffalo is rich because that's the only thing I can think of that they can keep making all these trips. Like, do you know how much plane tickets cost? It's ridiculous. And yet somehow they always manage to be there, man, just like an invading army, no matter where you go. So with that being said, Miami this is the list of the inactives as of right now. We have quarterback Skylar Thompson, Jalen Waddle. Unfortunately, all those rumors that maybe he'll go, maybe he is actually going to go. No, the reports are real. Jalen Waddle is not going to be playing. Neither is Raheem Mostert. Xavier Howard obviously is out. Keon Smith, Tyler Kroft, no surprises there. Now, here's the interesting one. Ethan Bonner was called up from the practice squad along with Melvin Ingram, and now he is a game day scratch, which is very interesting because at that point, why would you bother even wasting a call-up on him if you're not even going to let him play? So maybe this had something to do with Javon Holland. Maybe this had something to do with the fact that they weren't particularly confident that he was going to be available to play. I guess he is going to be playing, so they don't need Ethan Bonner. If that is the case, I mean, good for Miami. I'd rather have Javon Holland than Ethan Bonner any day of the week, even if he is a little rusty. But this is one of those games where there is no margin for error. There really isn't. When it comes to Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills, whatever struggles they've been dealing with over the past several weeks, they all disappear as soon as they play Miami. Josh Allen becomes a god amongst men and plays like the greatest quarterback to ever play football. But it only happens against Miami. Only Miami. So we need Miami to be on their game. Everybody needs to be playing full strength. I'm hoping that Vic Fangio has learned his lesson about letting Kader Kohou try to cover Stephon Diggs. It doesn't work. It never will work because Stephon Diggs is that kind of a guy. You need your best player on their best player at all times, which is part of why I think it's very good that Jerome Baker is going to be on him, is going to be in the game. It looks like he's going to be playing. On offensive side of the ball, it looks like Robert Hunt might actually be playing because he's no longer on this inactive list. Huge boost for the Miami Dolphins offensive line. I don't care what anybody thinks, even if it's 70% of Robert Hunt is better than whatever Robert Jones or Lester Cotton can offer at right guard. So this is exactly what I was kind of. This is not exactly, because if it were how I would have wanted, it would have been Jalen Waddle playing and Raheem Mostert playing as well. It's like, again, if you are able to function, if you can move, and that's what it looks like with Jalen Waddle, I feel like you should be playing. But I'm going to go ahead and let you guys get in. There's 4 of you that I got to let have their say. Mike, we haven't heard from you in a while. Let's get your initial thoughts here. Anything about this list, the game in general? Let's have it.
Yeah, it's like a 1 in, 1 out policy with Dolphins injuries this year. It's great to come back, but of course, no Raheem, no Jalen. For me, what's going to be real critical for the Dolphins to be able to win tonight is, one, this needs to – I know I've been posting on Twitter that this needs to be a Tua legacy game, but in reality, it needs to be a Devon Achane legacy game. Dolphins need to establish the run. He needs to have a big night. A lot of that falls on the offensive line to do their part. Having Rob Hunt certainly helps. And on the defensive side, it's pretty simple. While Josh Allen, has been a bit of a bugaboo for the Dolphins in years past, he is still that turnover machine. And the Dolphins have to get turnovers. When he holds the ball running a lot tonight, they need to get a couple fumbles out of that. also need to see if they can get a pick or two. If Josh Allen's turning the ball over, that's going to go a long, long way into getting a win tonight. And a big part of that for me is without Bradley Chubb, without, of course, Jalen Phillips, needs to be Andrew Van Ginkel being an absolute banshee like he has been the last month. He needs to be a bat out of hell while you have guys like Sealer and Wilkins really pushing the pocket from inside. A lot's going to have to go right for me, in my opinion, for the Dolphins to win this, but that's kind of what it all boils down to for me.
All right. Andy, let's get your thoughts. Anything about what Michael just said, or if you have your own thoughts to share?
No, I like what he's saying. It's going to be a tough game. This is that game that the Dolphins need to get the narratives out the way and to really get that confidence back in the team. You know, after a whooping like you received last week, you maybe doubts start creeping into your mind, whether it's on the offensive side, defensive side, even on the coaching side. This is the boogeyman. You know, this is the boogeyman. You got Sunday Night Football. Everybody's watching. Last game of the week. You gotta show out. And like Michael said, I hope Fangio has Jaden shadowing. We cannot have Kohu on Diggs. I know Kohu's doing his thing. He's a nice breakout guy, but that's not his matchup. That's not his matchup. We got to make things difficult on Josh Allen. And on the offensive side, man, play like you've been playing all year. This has been a one of the best offensive seasons in NFL history, a top 20 season. Play like it, not just against the low feeders. Play like it against one of the top dogs like Buffalo. Show out on national TV for the first time in a long time, because every time we're on national TV, things go sideways, and I'm tired of seeing that, man.
All right, let's get some word from Duke here.
Well, to go along with what these guys have said, it's what I said on Pulse of Fin Nations Tuesday night. This is this needs to be the George McFly Biff Tannen game. This needs to be the game where the Dolphins take their stand and knock out the Bills. One of the things I want to bring up is the Bills have won 4 straight games. They have been playing for their playoff lives for essentially since their bye week. And so they've been putting forth a lot of effort. So the question is, are they going to run out of steam tonight? Particularly now that they know that they're in the playoff field. There was a part of me that was wanting Jacksonville to win today so that we could knock Buffalo out of the playoffs. But at the same time, there's a part of me that's like, well, that Jacksonville's now out. Buffalo may not have that aching desire that they would have had, knowing that their playoff lives were on the line. And given that they've fought as hard as they have fought, do they put it kind of on coast tonight? That would be something that if I'm the Dolphins and it looks like that's what they're doing, and the Bills just aren't playing up to the way you expect them to play, we need to put the foot on the throat and take them out. So that's kind of what I'm hoping to see. I'm hoping that kind of Buffalo wants their they got what they wanted by getting in the playoffs, and now they've just kind of run out of steam after this 4-game thing. So do I expect that to happen? No, but that's what I want to see. My score prediction from the other night was it's going to be a close game, and I still think it's going to be a close game.
Eric.
So, Lewis, you had a very interesting tweet today.
What's that? Oh, yeah.
The 201. The 201.
Well, that's so because, listen, there are some folks there. I'll explain very briefly why I made that tweet. Is that I was already seeing some people that I follow talking about this is the game that decides whether Tua is the man in Miami. Can he rise up and make it so that his team is willed to victory beyond all circumstances? Doesn't it, like, find a way to win? Elite quarterbacks find a way to win, and they carry the team on their backs. Anybody who's been watching these shows for any length of time for the past several weeks knows that I've been holding on to this with an iron grip, basically trying to squeeze a true explanation out of this. When people say that a player needs to carry the team on their back, what exactly is that player expected to do? If you're saying that they need to not make mistakes, okay, you're asking for your player to be a game manager. Some people are saying that means he has to be the best player on the field, bar none. Okay, that means that everybody, in order for that player to be the best player on the field, if he's your quarterback, that means he has to have people catching the football. He needs to be able to avoid pressure in the pocket. All right, that's fine. But there's a lot more that goes into it. And there's a lot more that certain athletes like Josh Allen, I saw one response to that tweet, and I'll let you get your thoughts in right after that, Eric, is that one tweet said in a reply to me is that, watch Josh Allen. He will do it tonight. I'm like, you can't compare Tua and Josh Allen. They're not the same player. And it's not about who's better. It's about Josh Allen is a top 5 NFL. He's big. He's strong. He's fast. He can throw the football too, but he's not as accurate and he's not necessarily as poised as Tua. Josh Allen plays backyard football. Tua plays like a sniper in a system. He plays like Drew Brees. Josh Allen plays backyard football, and that works for Buffalo, but they're two different players. So if you're going to look at Josh Allen and say that's the example that you need Tua to follow, you will never, ever get that from him. They're not the same player. So if that's your definition, you can forget it. It's not going to happen. So go ahead, Eric. I'll let you get your thoughts now.
So I will agree with you to the point that, number one, 99% of people that say that it's really just some vague, nebulous goal that they want Tua to hit, that the goalposts are going to keep moving on to say that he's never going to be the guy to carry your team. I will posit this, though. There are, I think, very key things that Tua, in his style of play, can do. Firstly, the procedure of the offense tonight has to be clean. That's your quarterback. That's something that Tua can help to control. Obviously, he can't force guys to not commit false starts. I'm not saying that. But things like aborted snap, not seeing it coming, having the ball get snapped by your head while you're checking the defense is not something that you want to see tonight. Don't take sacks when you're in field goal range late in the half. When you're in the red zone, don't settle for 3, get 6. And then on third down, you can't have those misses on third down. You've got to convert at least 50% of your third downs. If you convert on third down, if you convert in the red zone and you run a clean operation as a quarterback, that aside from being Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson or Justin Fields and, being able to make things happen with your legs on the run, that is how you win games for your football team, is you come up in those big moments. Not necessarily because we can look back at all of the last games and kind of pinpoint certain moments in the game where you can feel the momentum shift. I think if I'm being really, really nice to the people that are saying that Tua needs to take over, I think what they're getting at the heart of it is that in those moments, they need him to make the play that just hasn't been made for one reason or another, and it hasn't always been to his fault. But that's my expectation tonight. Convert your third downs, get 6 in the red zone, run a clean operation on offense, and I'll be fine with that, regardless of the result.
But here's the thing. Let's look back to that Ravens game, right? People are using the Ravens game as proof positive that Tua was awful.
Well, that's not.
But they're using it. Eric. A Tyreek Hill touchdown that he caught and uncaught. I refuse to call it he dropped it. He caught it and then he uncaught it. It was already in his hands and nobody touched him. He just uncaught the football. And so that was number one, a touchdown that never happened. Another one to Chase Claypool. He dropped it. Those were both touchdowns that Tua should have had in his box score. And it never happened because his receiver did not catch it. Did he not will them hard enough? That's the problem that I have with it.
That's not a winnable game, though. I feel like that only really, like, in a game where you get blown out, obviously everybody gets blamed, even the quarterback. And Tua wasn't perfect against the Ravens.
No, he wasn't perfect. He absolutely
was better than a lot of people made him out to be, for sure.
But that's what I'm saying, though, Eric, is that they use this stuff as their proof that that he wasn't enough.
I'm going to interject a point here to what Eric's saying. I would look at the Ravens game, if you talk about what people want to see from Tua, would have been Miami had the ball in the first half was coming to an end. they rush up to the line and try to get a snap before the 2-minute warning, which was completely and totally unnecessary. Now, maybe that's on Tua, maybe it's on Mike McDaniel, who knows. But you had 2 plays before that. You'd move the ball almost into scoring position. If you play smart and you know you're not getting the ball back at the start of the half, so you don't want to give them a chance to get the ball back. And so even if you make that completion, they still could have a chance to get the ball back. So it just wasn't a smart play. It turned out to be a turnover, and the game snowballed from that point. So
no, absolutely. That in and of itself was inexcusable.
So what I would say, to go along with what Eric's saying, it's not a point of, well, Tua needs to have, all these stats. It needs to be a moment like that where it's just like, all right, I understand everything that's going on. I need to stop the bleeding at this point. And Baltimore had just scored, and you had a chance you could go down and put points on the board. Does the game look different after that? Maybe. It could have. We don't know. But you don't do things like that. That's some I hate to use his name, but that's some Zach Wilson type stuff. You just don't do plays like that. And that was the most disappointing thing that I saw from Tua in that game. I don't care about everything else that happened so much, because at that point the game was out of hand. But that's the point I think Eric was saying. If you want to take over a game, if you want to be the guy, you need to play smarter football than to make that decision that you did right then.
All right, that's fair. So now let's go into today's game. Miami and Buffalo. They don't have Matt Milano. They don't have Tre'Davious White. They don't have a lot of their star players, but they do have good players. Somehow the Bills just keep managing to find good players that run the Sean McDermott-like scheme very, very well. I spoke with Drew Greer, Rock Power Report. He says that a lot of Bills fans are looking at Sean McDermott as being the thing that's holding them back. And if they don't win this game, they're going to be very, very frustrated with him, even though they're going to be playing the Miami again next week if Miami does win today. Now, with that being said, let's talk about this real quick. What do you guys need to see from Tua in order for this game to win? Like, I hate to make it about Tua, but since everybody else is, I'm going to go ahead and do it too. We'll talk about defense shortly, because I know that's going to be a huge thing for Miami. But what do you need to see specifically from Tua for you to feel satisfied in that Tua did everything he could?
Need Tua to stay on schedule. And, that's been done. That also falls on Mike McDaniel. That falls on the receivers. That falls on the offensive line. But when Tua's at his best, there's times this year where, I can't get inside the guy's head, but it feels like he's trying to prove naysayers wrong at times, where he's saying, hey, you think I'm a check down merchant? All right, fine. I'm just going to throw 20 yards down the field, when he may have Durham Smythe open for 6. Where he may have a 5-yard run where he can go, slide, and keep the drive moving. I'd like for him to take what's there, have sustained long drives, and then when you have, Robbie Chosen or Tyreek Hill, probably should have gone Tyreek Hill before Robbie Chosen, but you have Cedric Wilson, you have one of those guys getting a bit loose and on Tyreek's shoulders there, take the shot. But with having a shorthanded defense against an offense that can put up points in a hurry, you don't want to go 3 and out real quickly and get them right back out there. That's where you can get yourself into trouble. So I want him to stay on schedule, and I want him to take those 5-yard throws, 6-yard throws, and then take the chance when necessary. This doesn't need to be a greatest show on turf kind of game. This needs to be a calculated effort from Tua to get the win.
Okay, so basically we need him to be a game manager. Is that what I'm understanding, kind of?
Not as much a game manager when he's playing within himself and he's sticking to script. And I'm not saying just go with your first read there or quickly look off your first read and dump it down. But when Tua is at his best, that's how throwing his receivers open. And also just taking what McDaniel's drawn up for him, because, not having Waddle out there hurts, not having Raheem Mostert out there hurts. But I see a big game from Achane that's going to set up a lot of what Tua can do. And also on that end, I think we're going to see decent nights from Durham Smythe as well as from Alec Ingold. I think that they're going to be some important cogs to the offense tonight.
All right, fair enough. Eric, let's talk about defense real quick. Jalen Ramsey's in, obviously. We're going to have Kader Kohu. We do not have Xavier Howard. We do have Nick Needham. Eli Apple, I'm guessing, is probably going to get the majority of the starting snaps opposite of Ramsey. Javon Holland is in. We're going to have Deshaun Elliott. Jerome Baker is back. That's big. We don't have Bradley Chubb, obviously. That's a huge loss. We're going to have Andrew Van Ginkel, Melvin Ingram, and Manuel Ogba acting as the pass rushers. Fortunately, we still have Christian Wilkins and Zach Sealer. What does Miami got to do? I don't even want to talk about limiting Josh Allen. Josh Allen is going to Josh Allen over everybody. What does Miami really need to focus on right now? Eric appears to be stuck. Yeah, I can now. Yeah, I don't know. How much did you hear? Okay. How much did you hear, Eric?
No, I heard the important part right at the end.
Okay. On defense, what does Miami need to focus on?
Yes. So ultimately, Miami just needs to focus on, if you can't stop him, you just need to make it as difficult as possible on him. And the way that you do that is, so Buffalo, since Joe Brady has taken over, they've leaned a lot more on a guy like James Cook. So if I'm Miami, I'm looking at James Cook, and James Cook is really the easy stuff for the Baltimore offense. He's getting them 5-6 yards a pop. If you can turn that 5 or 6 yards a pop into 2-3 yards a pop to where they're getting behind the sticks, and I mean, let's just be honest, Josh Allen's going to convert at least 1 3rd and long tonight. That's going to want to make us rip our hair out. But he's not going to be making 3rd and 15 consistently. And so if you can get them behind the sticks and into those situations where they've got to have it and Josh Allen has to run around and scramble like a chicken with his head cut off, then you force him into a situation where, maybe he's putting too much on his own back and throwing your team the football. So I think it's got to be all about you got to force Josh Allen to do everything for this offense. Absolutely everything. You got to take his strength and turn it into a weakness. This Bills offense needs to be Josh Allen or absolutely nothing. You cannot let James Cook get going tonight.
All right, that's good. Since I know you got to go soon, what's your score prediction? Let's get it.
All right. Do you want to hear the real thing, or do you want to hear what I want to happen? I'll put it on.
I want the truth, sir. I want the truth.
23-20, and we all go to bed sleeping like a baby with a tie.
That doesn't sound like the truth. That doesn't sound like the truthful answer. That sounds like
all right. I said that I will collect my guts at 8:19 and 59 seconds this evening. And I've yet to do that. So give me the Bills 28-27. I'm going to be the bad guy.
Okay. That's fine. Hey, look, now listen. Hey, this is what a lot of people feel like, and so I will respect people going with what they are truly feeling. I've done it before all year long, and sadly, a lot of the time I've been right when it comes to that sort of stuff. So,
I'm hoping I'm wrong.
As are we all, sir. All right, Andy. Let's talk about defense, and then give your score prediction, sir.
I'm going to agree with Eric, man. Make things hard for Josh Allen. How do we do that? I need Stephon Diggs neutralized. I need our elite number 1 cornerback in the league to shut down Stephon Diggs, because I think Kohu can handle Gabe Davis. And I think if you zero in on not Josh Allen himself, but what he has around him and neutralize them, then he's going to have to rely on scrambles. He's going to have to hold the ball a little too long, sack fumbles, interceptions, you name it. That's my main focus, is making sure his top targets are not available, so that he needs to think a second extra. He needs to look around and get to him. Pass rush, make him feel uncomfortable. Make him feel like he's in a bottle right now. That's what I think the defense needs to be focused on. The run game, keep it in front of you. You want to slow down Allen and then have James Cook on you, but you still want to contain them. You don't want them to have those a 50-yard bomb or a 3rd and 16 converted that just breaks your soul like we saw last week. That's my main thing. Shut down Diggs and make Allen uncomfortable.
And your score prediction, sir?
Well,
And I want the truth. Don't give me the, I hope this will happen.
No, I'm telling you the truth. You know, for anybody who's watching the Setting the Edge show we have on with my boy Sean and all that, with 5 Reasons Sports and Better Edge, you will see that this game is a 50-50 game. And I'm going on my side of the 50. I'm going, this is not going to be high scoring. I think 24-20 this is going to be an ugly game. Both teams really want it. Both teams have bad blood, and it's going to be clawing all the way through. 24-20 Dolphins, for sure.
All right. Duke, defense, score prediction.
Okay, so I want to, before I get into defense, I want to hit on what Michael said down there about I don't know that there's necessarily any particular stats that he needs to put up, but I think instead of considering him being a game manager, he needs to play smart. Like he said, take what the defense gives you. Don't try to force things that you don't need to force. Read the game. Make sure that you're playing smart football. If it's a close game and it's going toward the end of the half or something like that again, and you think you can take a chance threading it into triple coverage to Tyreek, or you can take the quick dump down to Durham Smythe, do that. So it's not game managing, it's just playing smart. As for the defense, over the last 4 games that the Bills have won, Josh Allen has completed 54.8, 46.7, 71.4, and 50% even of his passes the last 4 games. So the Bills have won games when Josh Allen is playing not very good football necessarily. I don't have his rushing stats. I'm not going to look that up. But in the game that he had 71% completion, he only threw 21 times. Against the Cowboys, he threw 15 times. Against the Patriots last week, he threw 30 times. So they've not asked him to do a lot. And so if what Eric said and what Andy said is if we can force Allen to do it all, he's not been doing that the last 4 weeks. It's been leaning on the running game. It's been doing other things. And if we can take that away, and if he throws for 450 yards and 5 touchdowns and beats you, hats off. You did what you haven't been doing the last few weeks. He has 3 touchdowns and 3 interceptions the last 4 games. So he's throwing less than 60% completion percentage over the last 4 games that they've won. And he's thrown 3 touchdowns to 3 interceptions in that time period. So again, they're doing it without Josh Allen. We need to force him to step outside of his comfort zone and make him beat you. And if he does, so be it. But you don't let James Cook beat you. You don't let the rookie tight end beat you. You don't let Stephon Diggs beat you. You want Josh Allen to force things. And, it's going to be on Vic Fangio. This is a game. This is why you pay Vic Fangio that big money. You brought him in to win a game like this. Can he dial up the defense to get Josh Allen uncomfortable, to get the Bills out of their game plan, and to do things that they don't want to do? Can you force turnovers? I mean, we saw what happened in the first Jets game, the opening game of the season for the Bills. I mean, that was a team. They lost Aaron Rodgers. Everything was going south for them, and they let Zach Wilson beat them because Josh Allen just went nuts, throwing turnovers and doing stupid stuff. Can we get that from him? I don't know. He tends to be Superman against Miami when he's not against everybody else. So maybe you don't want him to go that way if you're scared of that. But I think that's the game plan, is you just have to – it's like they've not been relying on the passing game lately. It's been the running game. Well, get that out of their hands. Stop the run. Miami's been good at that over the last pretty much most of the season. They had a bad week last week, but I think everything was bad last week. So we can kind of rule that out as an outlier. Yeah, stop James Cook. Stop whoever else they've got at running back and force Josh Allen to – and I think – I don't know if he's playing hurt or what. I don't know. But just, make his life miserable, and you give yourself a chance. For score prediction, I'm not going to give the decimal points that I did on Tuesday night show, but I'll go with the same score, 21-20 Dolphins.
All righty. And lastly, Mr. Michael, let's hear it. You're muted, by the way. Okay, there you are.
Y'all can call me a coward, yellow-bellied whatever you like. And I'm telling you now, no part of me wants to come on the post game and say, I told you so. I will not do that. No part of me wants to be right about this. It could just be the pessimist in me, or it could be a pragmatic side in me, but I don't see it tonight. I see this as 34-21 Buffalo. I see this as another boogeyman game. I've been my therapist hears like 90% Dolphins stuff, hears about the Jaguars playoff game, hears about the burial ground under the stadium. We can talk about family issues another day, but it's a lot of Dolphin stuff. I've been hurt by this franchise before. And I will say, silver lining, if I am unfortunately right in my cowardly prediction, I think it's a better matchup against Kansas City right now. Even if it is cold, I know the snow, I know all that. The best matchup is the tie. But at least that's a bright side that we can look to if my cowardly prediction is unfortunately right. But I see some heartbreak tonight.
Alrighty. Well, I see a lot of course, people in the comments are already saying that we don't have any guts. Listen, I'm picking Miami. I think they will win this game. I think the factor of being at home, and even though Ethan said it's mostly Bills fans at this point, which I honestly expected that to be perfectly fair, but I will go ahead and say that I feel like that at this point, this is Miami's best shot. If they can't win here, then I feel like I should just write off Miami for the rest of the time that Josh Allen is even in the NFL, which I refuse to do that. I refuse to just assume that Miami is screwed for as long as Josh Allen is alive. So I feel like this is going to be the game where it's going to count. I feel like this is the game where the Miami Dolphins are finally going to be able to do something. We saw it last year at home. It can be done. It will be done, and I'm going to say Miami wins this game, and it's going to be close. I'm going to say it's going to be like 28-26 or something, from some weird number like that, because that's really the only thing I can foresee Miami running into here. That's the best bet I've got. So we're going to go ahead and call it here. Everybody, thank you all so much for joining us. This has been a longer pregame show than usual, only because we had more people in it. So it's always nice to have everybody here. Make sure you go over to prizepicks.com, use that promo code 5, that's FIVE, and then we'll match up to $100 on your initial deposit when you sign up. All right, for myself, Andy, Michael, Chris, and of course, Eric Weideke and Ethan Skolnick, who popped in for a few moments and then had to go. We will see you all right after the game is over for postgame.